All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my own personal list of my favorite individual player playoff runs of all time. Now, this list right here is my favorite list. I'm not saying it's the greatest playoff runs individually of all time. It's my own personal list. And this list alone is players that either helped their respective franchises win the NBA Finals that year or had a massive run and played a big factor to help their respective franchise get to the NBA Finals that year. So I have 5 players on this list in no particular order, just going by years of when it happened. So I'll start with the latest year to the most recent year that these playoff runs happened for players individually. Starting off with player number one would be Dirk. Dirk Nowitzki's playoff run in 2011 with the Dallas Mavericks. Now that was the perfect homegrown championship run in probably NBA history, one of the biggest ones in NBA history, because Dirk's run that he had with the 2010-2011 Dallas Mavericks, helping the Dallas Mavericks win their only NBA title in franchise history, was a really cool moment. And after the Dallas Mavericks and Dirk failed to win the NBA title in 2006 to the Miami Heat that had Dwayne Wade and Shaquille O'Neal at the time, they had a rematch in 2011 from that NBA Finals. And that that Dallas Mavericks team was stacked. I will say Dirk did have some help, but it was Dirk, Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, Tyson Chandler, JJ Barea, Shawn Marion. I mean, that team was pretty stacked for the Dallas Mavericks, and obviously their best team that they ever had in franchise history. But Dirk in the playoffs that year just put it on for the Dallas Mavericks. He put the city of Dallas on his back. He averaged 27 points per game, 8 rebounds, nearly averaged a double-double in the postseason. And what he did again, oh, excuse me, that's actually what he averaged against the Big Three in Miami in the NBA Finals. Excuse me, I apologize for that part. But the Big Three, that's what he averaged against the Big Three of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, the superstar trio that was created in Miami in their first year of existence in South Beach. But you look at what the Dallas Mavericks did on their quest to winning their only NBA title. Dirk did a lot of hard work on that run. They got past the Portland Trail Blazers in the first round. They ended up sweeping the reigning defending NBA champions at the time, the Los Angeles Lakers, in the second round. They also, gentlemen, swept a young Oklahoma City Thunder team that had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. And then you beat the Miami Heat in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, winning the title and celebrating in South Beach in Miami. And me being a Miami Heat fan, that one hurt to the core that year, because I felt like the Miami Heat definitely should have defeated the Dallas Mavericks. But nonetheless, that was one of the greatest NBA final runs of all time that Dirk had with the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Oh, now this one is one of my personal favorites. Next one is the 2018 run that LeBron James had in the NBA playoffs. Now, I don't give a damn what you guys say. LeBron James' run with the 2018 Cleveland Cavaliers was one of the best individual playoff runs in league history. Even though he didn't win a championship, what that man was doing was historic. It's debatable what is the best version of LeBron James, the 2012-2013 South Beach days of Miami Heat, or this 2017-2018 version of LeBron James, because this man was a different animal, a different beast in the postseason, averaging 34 points per game, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, nearly averaging a damn triple-double. And this man was a freight train. He was a monster in the paint. He was a nightmare. He was great defensively as well, had a lot of chase down blocks on his highlights, and he was getting to his spots, the fadeaway shots, the great mid-range shots, several game winners on their quest to possibly dethroning the Golden State Warriors in the 2018 NBA Finals. But LeBron James respectfully carried the Cavaliers in the playoffs. He got past the Indiana Pacers team in 7 that had Victor Oladipo and Lance Stevenson. They swept the Toronto Raptors that had a prime DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. They defeated the Boston Celtics in 7 that had the young Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. We would have never knew what happened if Kyrie Irving was available for that series. But the only bad thing about that run is they got swept by a dangerous Golden State Warriors team that was overstacked at the time, and they fucked up the league. I will say that. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Kevin Durant, that shit was just not fair back in 2018. And their whole years that Kevin Durant became a snake and joined that team, that was just not fair basketball. But to LeBron James' sake, it still has to go down as one of the greatest playoff runs of all time, because if you look at that Cleveland Cavaliers team, they were just all over the place that year roster wise. I mean, they started the year with Dwayne Wade on the team and Derrick Rose on the team. And there were so many moves roster wise going back and forth to try to make LeBron James happy. But when the playoffs began, his best teammates were Kevin Love and J.R. Smith. And you saw what the hell J.R. Smith did in game one of the 2018 NBA Finals. Going the other way when LeBron James is begging him, "What are you doing?" And I can't tell you guys that how special that playoff run was, even though he didn't win a title. But I will say individually, that's one of the greatest playoff runs that I've ever seen, and the rest that one of the best that you guys have ever seen in NBA history. So he definitely has to be mentioned on my list. The next player would be the 2019 playoff run that Kawhi Leonard had in the playoffs with the Toronto Raptors. Now, I think this 2019 playoff run that Kawhi Leonard had was one of the best playoff runs in the 21st century in NBA basketball postseason, because this was the best version of Kawhi Leonard. The claw was in full effect. Great two-way player, offensively, defensively. He was a nightmare in transition on both ends of the court in the 2019 playoffs. The claw was in full effect. I mean, Kawhi Leonard averaged 30 points per game, 9 rebounds in the 2019 playoffs, and he scored a total of 732 points in the postseason that year. And Kawhi Leonard was aggressive in the paint. He was taking it to any defender that wanted to meet him inside the paint that year, and got to his spots comfortably, shooting from the mid-range spots, shooting comfortably from the three-point range. And Kawhi Leonard, he helped the Toronto Raptors win their only title in NBA history. The gentleman swept the Magic in the first round. Can you ever forget the lucky Game 7 bounce fadeaway shot that he got in Game 7 to send the Philadelphia 76ers home in the second round? Can you ever forget that he overcame a 2-0 deficit to the hands of Giannis in the Eastern Conference Finals that year? Took down Giannis, winning 4 straight in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then, at the time, ended the dynasty of the Golden State Warriors, defeating the Warriors in 6. I don't give a damn if you say people were healthy or not. They did it and erased them from trying to three-peat in 2019, because they got to the NBA Finals for, what, I think 4 or 5 straight years at that time. Unbelievable. But yes, I gotta say that has to be one of the best one-year rentals in history, because if you actually go back in time, Kawhi Leonard was shipped out of San Antonio and shipped to the Toronto Raptors to help them win a title. And they knew the stakes, what the stakes were, with Kawhi Leonard only having 1 year left remaining on his contract. And they had to do it sacrificing one of their best players in franchise history, unfortunately DeMar DeRozan, sending him to the San Antonio Spurs. But even though Kawhi Leonard left that summer, I thought he should have stayed with the Toronto Raptors for much longer, based on how he erupted the country of Canada and how he had the city of Toronto behind him. He even had Drake posing with the NBA Finals trophies like he was a part of that damn Toronto Raptors team. And I know he's the ambassador of the team and all, but damn, that playoff run right there was electrifying. And definitely one of my favorite playoff runs of all time is what Kawhi Leonard did in 2019 with the Toronto Raptors. Next player would be the 2021 run that Giannis had with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, this was another great moment to see another homegrown champion crowned. Giannis was drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks and obviously hasn't played for another team in his NBA career, but he could have just packed it up at the time and went to a big market team like in New York with the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks, or went to South Beach to play with the Miami Heat, or tried to go to a LA team, the Clippers or the Lakers. But no, he stayed loyal to the Milwaukee Bucks and helped them win an NBA title, something they haven't done in over 50 years back at the time. But the Greek Freak was a monster. I mean, Giannis was just on a tear, and he's still one of the best players in the league, top 5 for sure. But Giannis was just a great two-way player, dominant as a transition player, and dominated anyone that wanted to stand in his way inside the damn paint. But Giannis was just on a tear in the 2021 playoffs. He averaged 30 points per game, 12 rebounds, 5 assists during that playoff run. They swept the Miami Heat. the reigning defending Eastern Conference champions at the time in the Miami Heat in the first round. They sent the message to the Heat in the first round. Then it defeated defeated the Brooklyn Nets in Game 7, and then beat the Hawks in 6, and then beat the Phoenix Suns in 6. And that Phoenix Suns team was actually pretty good. That had Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton a few years ago, and they overcame a 2-0 deficit. And who could ever forget the Game 6 where Giannis dropped 50 points in that game to help stamp himself as an NBA champion, and then went to the Chick-fil-A drive-through the next day and ordered a 50-piece special at Chick-fil-A the next day. But I'm getting nostalgia just thinking about these players and these runs that they had. And there's one more player that I want to mention before I close off this segment, and that would be the 2023 run that Jimmy Butler had with the Miami Heat. Now, this is a player that came up short, did not win an NBA title with the Miami Heat that year. But if the Miami Heat just won a title in 2023, that would go down as probably one of, if not the biggest Cinderella run in playoff history. Because the Miami Heat that year, they were a play-in tournament team and got the 8th and final spot in the Eastern Conference and played the Milwaukee Bucks. They got past the Milwaukee Bucks. Jimmy Butler, who could ever forget that game where he erupted for 56 points in that series against the Milwaukee Bucks. He did everything he could to help the Miami Heat win a title that year, but we just didn't have enough star power, and Tyler Hero was out due to a hand injury, so he was out after Game 1 for the entire duration of the playoffs. But the Miami Heat that year, they defeated the Milwaukee Bucks, they defeated the New York Knicks, they defeated the Boston Celtics. They beat every damn team there was contending-wise that stood in their path to derail them of getting to the NBA Finals. But they just got gentlemen swept by a much better Denver Nuggets team that had just so much star power. And Bam Adebayo wasn't really going offensively, and Jimmy Butler couldn't do it by himself. You could tell he was starting to fade away and wasn't as effective. But I got to put that run on my list as well, because a damn play-in tournament team was only 3 games shy of winning an NBA Finals. That is absolutely insane to think about. But those 5 individual players are my favorite NBA playoff runs in NBA history. My own personal list, by the way.